great to see you. Welcome to Pop Alternative.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to chat with you. I mean, Hell Motel. You know what I mean? In Canada, available in Hollywood Suite, and then in the US, people are gonna be able to see it on Shudder, the horror movies fans' playground, which is exciting. I know you are a big fan of the genre. What was it like, kind of diving into a world that you're a fan of from an acting storyteller perspective?
It was such a dream. I honestly couldn't have asked for a better experience. I lived for it, for all the blood and all the cold and all the weird. It was so fun. You would show up on set, walk into the lunchroom, and there would just be a dead body on the table, or you go into the makeup room and there's just a severed head, and that was normal. So it was such a weird, wild experience to really be in the thick of it all.
And this was, how this is Hell Motel from the creators of the Slasher series of TV shows. And, Aaron McCormack, who we saw in Slasher, is in this as well. Take me through that component of it, where it's like there's familiar territory and unfamiliar territory at the same time. Like, it's just part of, I guess, like the world of Slasher, but it's not Slasher, right? It's its own like thing. Do you think about that at all?
Yeah, it, I mean, the writers, creators, Aaron Martin and Ian Carpenter really have the horror TV genre down to a science. So even though it is its own entity, I think that it still lives in the slasher universe, and there's even some references to moments in the slasher series. So it is cool to see how the two shows kind of intersect.
What do you think is the experience for you given your character? Because this is a very interesting character. This is the character who's like one of the hosts at this kind of motel where everything might or might not go wrong and everything. Like, was it an interesting experience kind of like reading this and then seeing it come to life? Like, because like I feel like a lot can kind of happen once you go into production, but what was that like script to screen journey like for you with your character?
Yeah, it was so wild and amazing. I would say is the character furthest away from myself that I have ever played. If you know me, you know I'm a pretty, bubbly person. Ruby is a much more
She's not a bubbly person.
no, definitely but it's still a very kind of over the top animated character, but super, super different. She is, gothabilly, true crime obsessed, badass horror fan. But it was really interesting kind of getting the script because at first it was such a hard character to crack, but
Yeah.
I was obsessed with her. So I really wanted to and needed to. And even throughout the audition process, I was kind of like, oh man, like how the writing is so good, but how do I make these words come out naturally for me?
Yeah.
Um, and it really was, honestly, I think so much of the costuming brought her to life, and just kind of building that in my mind of who she was. For me, it's gonna sound kind of weird, but her bangs
Yeah.
changed everything. So once I put on the micro bang, I was like, oh, this is Ruby, and everything kind of just dropped in physically, and the words just made sense for my body suddenly. And it was really cool to see that transformation of her and evolution of her from me initially just kind of reading it to where she ended up.
So you bring up a really cool thing I just thought of. That's a really good question that I actually wasn't going to ask you. I'm going to ask you this now. So it's interesting, right? Because you think of like, character traits or objects or like settings as characters, right? Like when you watch a movie, sometimes like the car, like the main character's car can be like a character. Or like in this, like maybe the motel is its own character, right? Maybe her bangs, right? Or someone's glasses. That's interesting to think about. Did you think about that at all, making this show specifically? Because like it's such a, like you said, the costumes, it's such a kind of like lively set, right? If you think about it.
Oh yeah, so much. Yeah, because so much of Ruby is the presentational aspect of
Yeah.
her, especially as she's hosting all these guests in the motel and showing them around. She really has this persona that she puts on that you kind of see peeled back as it goes on.
Yeah.
But yeah, the costume changed everything because it added to that whole persona that she's portraying as well. And the set, absolutely, it felt like its own character because the idea that she, as one of the owners of the motel, would have picked out the different details, or the dining room, for example, you walk in, there's one or two walls that are just fully covered in different paintings and pictures, and all the stories that would be behind that. It really does feel like the motel is a whole entity and character in itself as well.
Yeah.
So definitely a big aspect of the show.
We'll get back to Hell Motel, but we are going to also talk about another film that you did that's a horror comedy that did an incredible film festival run. And I love this movie. And we're talking about Scared Shitless. And our movies actually premiered together at Screamfest in LA, which was pretty cool, right? That we are like horror film festival buddies in that sense, I guess. Yeah. That movie is so funny, but terrifying at the same time. And I'm curious, like, especially like, I know, like, you know, you can only kind of speak for like the scenes that you were in specifically, and like the whole kind of situation where like your character might or not be an influencer somehow. But like, I'm just wondering, like, what was that whole experience like? Because that's really, you're really diving into like two genres in one with that movie. Like, it's right down the middle. Yeah.
Very different characters. But yeah, it was so, that was my first horror movie ever. One, which it was so wild because I'm such a horror fan. It felt extreme, and and that one is so outrageous in the best way. It's so campy and so perfectly done. But it was, yeah, I don't know, it was great. There's one experience that I really got to have with a lot of blood.
Yeah.
And a worm monster, which is where I'll leave it for information.
We can say what it is. Like, it's not a worm, it's a toilet monster.
It's a toilet worm monster. And
it's a toilet monster. Yeah.
Yeah, but the way it was done was so incredible because there were so many different versions of it for whatever they needed.
Yeah.
Not. So there was many versions of it. They had one giant kind of huge puppet version of it, and that was a really cool aspect to interact with because I've never really worked with practical effects either like that.
Yeah.
So cool.
Was the first time you saw it at Blood in the Snow?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, because like I saw it, I saw it first at Screamfest, and then I saw Blood in the Snow. But like seeing like that movie, seeing the reactions in the crowd was like the best for that movie. Like I remember like people were like laughing so hard, people were like gasping, like the crowd loved that movie. Like that movie was so much fun. I can't wait for eventually more people to be able to see that movie. So good. And like that scene was such a swerve too. You're complaining and it's like, oh shit, this is what's going on.
Oh yeah, it was hilarious to shoot too because Stephen Ogg, who stars in it, is just an improv master, and anything that comes out of his mouth is hilarious. So
absolutely.
Fun to work with.
Getting back to Hell Motel, I have my filmmaker hat on when I ask you this question, but like we might see some scenes where it's like, you know, your character talking for like 2-3 minutes and then it kind of goes to another scene or something like that, or we see some characters talking and then it's like 3 minutes and then it goes to another. But there is a chance that those scenes, you know, might have taken the whole day or 2 days to film, and then we just see 2-3 minutes on screen. When those big scenes happen, like those scenes that take a long time, do they feel like their own mini movie, or do they feel like part of the project overall as a whole?
Ooh, I mean, I think it felt like the project overall, because one thing that's so unique about this series too is they shoot it all in one block.
Yeah.
So instead of shooting episode by episode, they shoot all 8 episodes of the season at once.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Wild. And I've never seen another show do it to this extent. But because of that, it really does all feel like one world. And most of the story takes place in a couple days. So it really did kind of flow into each other.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about though, right? Because it's like, I feel like, you know, at some point there was going to be a situation where you were going to want to make, like, you were going to want to act or like make films, right? Do you feel like you watch things a lot differently now than you were like, you know, 10 years ago, now that you know how they're made? Because I feel that way as well. Like the movies that like
It's
I wonder
so
if we
funny.
I wonder if we go back to the movies that we weren't like we were confused about, and now that we make them, well, maybe we wouldn't be as confused.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially with horror, because you watch a movie and you're scared and you're feeling it and you're there with them, and then on set, you're 1 second you're screaming and then the next you're eating a granola bar having a coffee with everybody in a green room. So it's so funny seeing the dichotomy of what ends up on screen versus what's actually going on.
That was the best what you just said, because that's so true. That is the most truthful thing for people that work in indie horror like that.
It's so funny. So definitely when watching films
You
now,
said that
I think about that a
perfectly.
lot.
Oh, that's so good. It's true. It's like, I want a granola bar.
Yeah, literally. Or like, especially while we're talking about both, like filming scared shitless, it would be 1 minute I'm in the shower, and then the next I'm like, everybody's coming at me with the robe, and so much is going on behind the scenes that just it doesn't even feel like you're in what ends up on screen.
Oh, absolutely. And it's exciting about Hell Motel because episodes are rolling on in Canada, Hollywood Suite, and it's going to be available on Shudder in the US, which is so exciting. So I can't wait for people to check that out. Brynn, so good chatting with you. Thank you for so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's always fun chatting with you.
Absolutely. So your Instagram account is just your name if people want to keep up to date with everything?
Brynn Godenir. That's it.
Awesome. Well, this has been Pop Turn. If you do.com/Pop Turn previous episodes, until next time, it's Brynn Godenir and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.